You posted a QBR of 81, a mark that would have ranked just ahead of Jordan Travis for highest in the ACC. He's also ranked top 10 nationally in air yards per attempt, averaging 2 yards more than his final year as Clemson's starter. Now, DJU returning to the ACC, how does he fit into that FSU offense?
Yeah, well, he fits perfect, Victoria. And one of the biggest things about DJU is the fact that he can push the ball down the field. And I think Coach Norvell is going to cater the offense to exactly that. And it's going to probably be led with the run game. You got Lawrence Toafili coming back. He was the ACC MVP champion in the conference championship. And also Roydell Williams coming over from Alabama. But when you mix in the run game, you have play action passing. That opens up those deep third, those dig routes, those go balls, those back shoulder fades that you can take advantage of with one-on-one matchups when they have 7 or 8 guys in the box. So I'm expecting DJU to kind of revamp his career and at the end of the day give himself a chance to play at the next level.
And I'm expecting similar things. What we saw from DJ Uiagalelei last year at Oregon State was a lot of under center play action and deep shots. That's to his strength. It plays to DJU's strengths. We saw the air yards increase from his time at Clemson to his time at Oregon State. I expect that trend to continue at Florida State. Florida State, you talk about Toafili, they will have a great run game, and so you lean on that run game, you go towards that play action, offensive line protects you, now you're able to push the ball down the field. DJU is known to have a big arm. He used it last year at Oregon State. I expect more of the same this year at Florida State.
Now, EJ, can they match their near-perfect season this year?
Well, it's going to be tough. I mean, the schedule's not going to be easy, especially out the starting blocks. Georgia Tech is a very talented football team. They won 7 games last year and also capped it off with a bowl victory. The weekend after that, they got Boston College. And if you remember that game, Thomas Castellanos, their quarterback, hit the scene, and he played extremely well, too. So, look, I think the front half of this schedule is going to be really tough. The key is, can they stay healthy? But at the end of the day, can you just stay confident? And I think that's going to be the big key for DJU. Don't get down on yourself. If you're in some tough games, you got a great defense. Don't feel like you have to try to do too much to win the game. You got a bunch of other guys around you that can help you win, too.
I want to note that DJU not in attendance at ACC Media Days. In his choice, he said that Florida State should be represented by players who are part of last year's ACC championship team. But, Pete, a huge headliner for the last year has been conference realignment. And can you give us an update on where FSU and Clemson stand? I know you mentioned a little bit earlier. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Absolutely, Victoria. I think we're going to have 2 years of the ACC intact as it is right now, unless there's some seismic change that come from elsewhere, meaning if there's some type of breakaway or some major shift. And I think the next mile marker to look for in Florida State and Clemson will be, will the ACC come to some sort of negotiated resolution with them? Will they settle out of court and allow them to escape that grant of rights? Until then, we're going to be dialed in on the meaning of those contracts, the availability of those contracts. The site of these court cases has been bandied back and forth a few times in recent, but I don't see a major shift, a major trigger in anything for at least the next 18 months in this, unless there's some type of settlement. If we get a settlement and the ACC agrees to let them leave for hundreds of millions of dollars, then we could have a reconstituted ACC, and then we'd find out where Florida State and Clemson could go. The Big Ten or the SEC is not going to be interested in either of those teams while they have legal entanglements, and the legal entanglements are significant right now. In a lot of ways, they're just starting.
Now, Pete, how realistic would that settlement be in the near future?
You know, Victoria, that's a hard thing to say right now, because I think the reality of a settlement is going to come once we get down the road legally a little bit, right? Yeah. All the sides are going to want to read the tea leaves. But I do think from the ACC standpoint, North Carolina has been and remains the linchpin of the future. If they could settle in some way and get some guarantee for North Carolina to stay and be the bedrock of the league going forward, perhaps with some additional money going their way, that would be the ACC's most logical path going forward. What the ACC can't do, and what none of the members want, is those two teams leave, they pay their money, and it leaves a blueprint for everyone else to leave, and then the league falls apart. So there's a lot of difficult decisions, and there's no linear path forward here. I do think it is going to take some time, and we're going to have to see a little bit of where things start legally before we get a picture of where it's headed.
As always.
Give me something.